Chance to watch your film at 17, and it is an absolutely brilliant short film. So I was wondering if we could start off with you telling our listeners a little bit about how the film came about in the first place.
So it's kind of a funny story because I knew I wanted to do something with my brother who plays Mark in the film, and I knew I wanted to do something in French and English because I basically grew up with Franglish.
Yeah.
I figured out that I definitely wanted to write that in Franglish because that's the way I express myself the best, as well as my brother. And then I started thinking what we do, and I came about this poem that I had read in high school called On n'est pas sérieux quand on a 17 ans, which is We're Not Serious When We're 17, which was actually the original title for my short film, but it was a little long. And the poem is basically about a summer love between a man and a woman, how we're not serious when we're 17, we make love, maybe lose our virginities, we drink, we laugh, we have fun, we don't take life seriously, like nothing serious at all. And from there, I was like, how interesting would it be to actually the backstory of a character? And that's how I came up with the idea of Emma's story. Because, we're not serious until we're 17, until we have to be.
Yeah.
And so from there on, I started thinking about who Emma was, thinking about who Mark was, and eventually the story kind of just came to me as I was writing just dialogue in general. I don't really plan out when I write. It's just kind of like, who are the characters? Very character driven, and then the story came out. So yeah.
So was there a screenplay, or was it mainly ad-libbed?
So there was a screenplay, but because I had worked with my brother before, we knew we wanted to do some improv too. So we really worked, when it came to rehearsals, we worked a lot together by just improving with the story in mind and keeping the structure, but just improving while we were doing it. And then I decided that when we were going to shoot it, we would do only one takes, like for the entire scene, every single angle.
Yeah. So
then we could keep together, and we didn't have to like break off the tension.
Yeah.
And so that gave us space to be able to improv also while we were doing the scenes, but keeping the structure of the original script.
Yeah, there's such a natural feel to this film. There's so few films out there that have that natural feel to it. Do you think it was because you're working with your brother, or was it because the script was ad-libbed a fair bit?
I think it was both. I've always been into very character-driven stories in general. Doing it with my brother was definitely something that made it more real, which made it harder but also easier. I asked this question before. I was like, it hasn't made it easier because it was your brother. I'm like, yes and no, because my brother and I never fight, ever. So it was definitely something that was difficult to deal with, and after every take, we'd kind of hug each other and be like, I love you.
I was going to ask what that was like working with your brother, because I'm casting a web series here at the moment, and I cast one of my friends in one of the roles, and she turned around to me and she said, just don't cast my brother as my brother. So what was that like working with your brother?
It was great, but it was hard because we had to put each other in these circumstances. And it was just difficult. I mean, we have a hard time arguing, so it was just very difficult for us to find ourselves so angry at each other and really get into that. But I think overall it made it more strong because we already had that relationship, and also with the language switch, it made it easier for us as well.
Yeah.
In that sense.
I think the language switch is one of the other things that also makes this feel so natural, because I grew up here in Australia, but in a Greek community, so all of my friends spoke Greek. I learned to speak Greek from a very early age, and it's the same thing. Still, when we catch up, half our conversation is in Greek and half is in English. Did you go into the film wanting to do that to also make that natural vibe even stronger in the film?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that there aren't that many movies where there is this language switch, and I think there's a lot of people who are bilingual who that's just how they interact in general.
Yeah.
That's how I interacted with my friends, since I'm a kid, and we've never really stuck to one language. So I think it was also important to kind of represent that, because it's weird when you are bilingual, you tend to think about. You tend to think and dream also in both languages. So I feel like it felt like something important for me to put in a film, because I thought it would reach also an audience who can also understand that.
Yeah. It is such a deep film as well. It's such a deep topic that is explored, and I don't want to spoil it for people out there that haven't had a chance to see the film yet, but how did you prepare to play that character, and how did you prepare to go to such a deep emotional state that your character ends up in this film?
A lot of character work, always. Also having, since I wrote it, I was kind of, it helps just building the character as you write it too, so I think that was definitely like a big help, because I only had to ask myself rather than like asking a director or someone else who the character was. Since I created this character and she was based off a poem, I knew her backstory, I knew everything about her, but emotionally wise, that's why I did the one takes, because I thought that was really important for the tension of the film and for the emotional state of the character to go through.
Yeah. You wrote, directed, and starred in the film. How much crew did you have around? Like, were some of the cameras locked off to operate without operators, or how big was the crew that you worked with?
Oh, I think we were 5 total.
Yeah.
It was a very small crew, which was actually fantastic and they were all my very close friends as well. So it was great because, I had this idea, I pitched it to them, and they were like, let's do it, why not? And then we ended up doing it, and it ended up working out, and having a minimal crew is actually helpful when it came to the emotional state in general of my brother and I when we were acting, especially because the people around us were close to us. So I feel like that gave us kind of like a safe space in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that was definitely helpful. The fact that we had like a small crew that we were all close to each other.
Definitely. Now, congratulations on the awards that the film has won as well. I know it's won a few awards, so I was wondering if you could tell our listeners a little bit about where the film has screened so far and what awards it's been able to pick up.
So it has received an accolade from the Accolade Global Competition, which I am very proud of. Also won at Best Shorts and won at Creation International Film Festival. And so far it's been screening. I've had a couple articles and there it's been screening, but it's mostly just on YouTube. I want to make sure that everybody can go and watch it. And, I think especially concerning the topic, I don't want to ruin it either for people who haven't seen it, but I think that it's an important film that can speak to a lot of people who've been in certain situations where, whether or not it's the same situation, but where their families don't necessarily agree with their decisions.
Yeah, and we'll put a link up there as well for our listeners out there who are listening right now. There'll be a link on our website to the actual film, and for people who are listening on the podcast, we'll put a link directly below where you found the podcast, so you'll be able to find the film really, really easy. Cassandra, where to now for the film, and also where to now for you? Because you've got an amazing talent as an actress and a filmmaker. So what are your plans going forward?
Well, thank you, first of all. Now for the film, I'm still waiting on a few answers from other festivals, so that's exciting. But we've been getting a lot of attention from press, actually, which is great. As for me, I am just trying to do what I love, you know. We're actually working on, with some of my friends here in LA, we're trying to make a feature that would be one location. So we're trying to work on that right now, and it would be more of an ensemble cast. Again, about one of a controversial topic. I'm not allowed to say much about it.
Yep.
That's very exciting. A web series that is in the early stages of development called So Is Sadie, and it's going to be a little less dark, and it's actually going to be a comedy. Very exciting. And then I have a few coming up. But, mostly acting. I'm kind of focusing on acting right now, and it's very exciting.
Okay, well, we definitely can't wait to talk to you in the future about the future projects that you're working on, because I cannot wait to sit down and be able to watch them as well. But for now, congratulations on At 17. The film has done so well, so congratulations, and we hope all of our listeners will go out and find it on YouTube and watch it as well.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. Thank you so much. I'll let you go. Have a great night, and hopefully we get to talk again in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.